Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson. Thanks for joining me for my weekly guitar blog. It's May 1st, 2016, and this week we're going to do a lead guitar lesson on 3 tips to always have stuff to play. And this week's question was sent in from Brandon. He's out in Nanaimo, Canada, and he wrote in with this email. I've been studying my scales a lot lately, but when it comes to making up solos and working at playing lead guitar, I feel like I just run out of my ideas way too fast. I was hoping that maybe you could offer me some tips for playing lead guitar for longer periods, or at least how not to run out of ideas for stuff to play. From Brandon in Nanaimo, British Columbia, Canada. Well, thanks a lot for writing in, Brandon. Almost every guitar player goes through the exact same situation that you're finding yourself in now. The fact is, we all need to have good ideas to have ready to play when we're jamming, when we're doing solos, if we're doing improvisation. And if we don't have that, we'll probably run out of things to say during that period very quickly. And we don't want that to happen. So, when you think about it, there's even common terms thrown around for this. One of them is called noodling. You don't want to be accused of noodling. It just means that you're not playing anything of musical substance on your instrument, and you're kind of not going in a good musical direction, but instead you're sort of just playing random licks and phrases that never really go anywhere. And that's not great. So what we want to do to solve that is, in this lesson plan, I'm going to help you get rid of that direction of having a random noodling approach, and just help you to get better at developing a soloing approach where you'll have more to say, and you'll have longer soloing periods when it comes up next time to play that next lead with your band. So what we're going to do is zoom in on the neck. We're going to cover a progression that's going to be sort of the foundational progression of the lesson plan. We're going to talk a little through how you should be developing scales in a little bit different manner than just focusing on the box shape patterns. We're going to do a little bit of improvising, and I'm going to focus on having a composed melody, almost as a sort of a jump start for you. Just have that springboard to take you off into a lot of other areas. And at the end of the video, I have a bonus tip that I'm going to throw in there as well. So let's zoom in on the neck and get started. Well, guitar players who are learning to play solos seem to share many of the same problems with respect to learning how to apply the scales and apply soloing ideas. Now, one of the biggest problems that happens generally is the player doesn't understand how to analyze the background chord harmonies. And they're not generally, spending enough time understanding what's happening, where the chords are, the feel, all that stuff. They also are having a little bit of trouble generally taking the scale patterns and going off of more than one location to phrase their lines with. So, these ideas are the paramount ones that I need you to look at in your own playing, and I guess they would really be my first tip to helping players have more stuff to play when they're soloing. So I want to stress the importance of knowing exactly what's going on with each underlying background chord progression that you're going to encounter. You'll need to know the key, obviously. That's really important because that determines your scales that you're going to use, but you also really need to pay close attention to the chords being played at each moment as well. My first example has a common sounding A major progression. We're just going to use it as the backdrop for this video for all the information we're going to cover. I just need you to pay close attention to how everything's set up. The progression itself is very straightforward. It's A major to E, and then there's a D chord going back to the A. So it's a 2-bar phrase, really straightforward. It's just the 1-4-5 from the key of A major, but I'm going to play it across the neck in a little bit different way. I'm going to make it a little more interesting. I'm going to focus on having the open A in the bass. So we're going to maintain that open A 5th string. I'm going to do a small A major shape between the 4th to 2nd strings, going frets 7, 6, and 5. That's our A major with that open 5th string underneath. Then we're going to take an E major chord shape. We're going to get rid of the bass note and instead have open A again. We're going to play the upper tones of that E chord. It's going to be frets 6, 4, and 5, going again from the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings with the A in the bass. And then we're going to take that exact shape and we're just going to drop it down a whole step. That's going to give us a D chord. So those are frets 4, 2, and 3 from those same strings. And then we're just going to wrap up an open position A major chord. You probably know that one. I'm just going to bar it, catching all those 2nd fret notes on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. So we're just going to drop it down the neck that way, keep everything nice with that open A droning bass note underneath. So start by getting that progression together. I'd highly recommend recording it. Get it recorded for yourself so you can play it back. Maybe if you have a loop pedal, program it into the loop pedal. If you like using GarageBand or any of your favorite, looper track ideas that you're working with, just get it into some kind of loop where you can play it back. Or you could even just record it on your phone, and just play it back. But get that thing happening in the background so that you can begin working your scales and building lines over that. So that's sort of step one there. I'm going to take a short break, come back in a moment, and we're going to talk through some ideas on looking at scales in a little bit different manner. All right, my next tip is going to focus on breaking away from always thinking, from within one scale box shape. I know that it's easier, especially in the early days of learning to play solo, to just sit in one scale layout and play your solo, remaining in only the one fingerboard position all the time. But, that's not going to yield the results for you with respect to having more ideas to perform while you're soloing. So, a lot of times people will say, hey, we're in the key of A major, so people will sort of think of this common box shape scales. Or maybe they know another one, sort of a segment of one or something. And they get locked up in just the one region. But, it's going to limit you. So in my next examples, I wanted to focus on learning a couple of scale segments that are located across the neck from one another in different locations. See, I've found over the years of teaching guitar that by learning these scales in smaller pieces and locating them literally across the neck from one another, you can develop better phrasing and different ideas because the layout of the tones is just so vastly different. There's something psychological to it as well, from being up here and playing and then dumping all the way down there and playing. And we're just not going to focus on the larger textbook scale shapes that are found in so many how to play guitar books. We're just going to get into segments with that. So let me play the first examples here to demonstrate them. The first shape I have is going to fall between 2nd and 4th strings. It's going to be up higher on the neck, around 7th and 10th fretboard positions. It goes like this, starting up on this high A. I'm just running through the scale basically. I got this high A at the 10th fret of 2nd string, and then I'm going into the 3rd string, and I'm just playing, I got G sharp, F sharp, and E on that string, and then I'm going over to the 4th string. I've got the D tone, C sharp tone. I've got this B, and then landing on the tonic of the scale there, A. So it's just a different layout up, and just a segment of the layout, situated right there. So that's our first one. Now the next scale shape segment is going to still function between 2nd and 4th guitar strings, but this one's going to be located across the guitar fingerboard between the 4th and 2nd fingerboard positions, and it's going to go like this. So a little bit different. It's more on the pentatonic side. So what I would suggest doing is, take that recording that you made of those chord changes that we have here, and then start working through the positions. Get something happening in one area. And then jump over the neck, play something in the other location. So you've got those two locations to mess around with. You're not totally locked up into thinking only in one area, and you get, sort of a little bit of cabin fever, up in that one place. And then, you have these two places that you're shooting for. And it's just a practice routine idea. You're trying to make up a phrase in one area, dump it over down to the other, You could just hop from one location into the other. So great way to start working on breaking out of these box patterns and going along the neck. You're sort of forcing yourself from one position area to the other. And you can do that in the beginning with full scales. You can use pentatonics. You can even start integrating arpeggio lines into that. But it is a great way to get you moving more all along the neck. And it is going to help you to play more ideas and play longer with your ideas as well. So take that one to heart. Is really helpful. I'm going to take a quick break here, come back in a moment, and then we're going to look at our third tip, which is going to be working on designing pre-learned lines, licks, and melodies. Let's check that out right next. Okay, so what we've done so far has led us up to the third tip, and this one, combined with a bonus tip that I'm going to throw in a little bit later, is really going to be the important ways to help get you to that next level with your playing of, just being able to play guitar solos and be really free feeling with them and just have just loads and loads of stuff to say and, never really running out of some kind of statement to move on to. And the connection of everything, the phrasing of everything will be really smooth. Now, this third tip has to do with applying those small scale segments in more than one fingerboard location and then spending time with them composing a melody. Now, I know you're probably stepping back and going, what do you mean composing, man? This is supposed to be improvisation. And yeah, I know it's supposed to be that, but if you can't compose a strong melodic idea, it's going to be pretty tough for you to have a capability there of improvising one. See, all improvisation is doing is it's producing spontaneous composition. So through your study and the constant practice of creating, of composing well-structured, worked out lines, what happens is you begin to become an excellent creator of really good spontaneous stuff on your neck. So what I want to do for you is demonstrate a melody. It's a short, simple melody that I've composed. It's in the two different areas of the neck we were discussing earlier on. And we're just going to do that first. I have those changes, that we discussed a little bit earlier there, and they're in the loop pedal now. Got them in there just a minute ago. And I'm going to play the melody first to give you a chance to learn it. We'll pull up some on-screen tabs, where it's all located. And then I'm going to fire up the loop pedal, and I'll play the melody with the loop pedal, and then I'll do some improvising for fun after that. So first of all, the melody, it goes like this. It starts on the second string, A, drops down through the scale tones into an E on third string, 9th fret, and then we have a little pickup idea there on the third string going 4 to 6, and then dropping down the scale again, come around into that A tone. So all together it sounds like this. Very simple line. It's just going to be played over those chord changes of A to E, and then the D into the A. All right, so I'm going to fire up the loop pedal. I'll play the melody line a couple times through, and then I'm going to do some improvising. Okay, so you're probably wondering what my bonus idea is, the bonus tip. Well, it's something that I've made mention of in many of my other videos, and it has to do with the critical practice and study of the phrasing habits of other guitar players, combined with the adoption of some of the ways that your favorite players created the types of solos that you really latch onto, the ones that you really enjoy listening to. So what my suggestion is to pick a few of your favorite players. Never just zero in on one person. I would not advise that. Even if you have a favorite player and you want to be just like them, and don't just idolize and pinpoint everything to do with one person, because you'll sort of wind up sounding way too similar. And my suggestion would be to pick at least 3 or 4 different players, really analyze their playing, take a little bit of that player, a little bit of that one, a little bit of that one, and mix and match. Try and choose people from different genres. Choose a country player that you really like the way they work on ideas. Choose a blues player, choose a rock player, choose someone in a very different style, maybe even jazz or something. Maybe even if you're into jazz, choose a player that's really into metal. Maybe if your favorite player is Wes Montgomery, maybe go and look at what Kirk Hammett's doing in Metallica or something. You know what I mean? Just really pick and choose different genres and different areas of how people are doing things, and try to develop your own style from all this pinpointing that you're going to do from other players. Because their solos and their licks and their riffs and how they play can really work to your advantage to help you develop your own style and your own unique way of playing and of phrasing lines. This is going to make a big impact on your solos. It'll not only give you tons of unique ideas if you do this that you've probably never really thought of, especially when you jump across different styles, but it will also help you to learn to tap into ideas that will allow you to play lead guitar solos for much longer periods. It'll also sort of train you to get into a good zone and a good line of thought when you start playing a lead. And the more you do that live, in front of people, the better you're going to get at it. You just have a more natural, comfortable feel with it. And your melodic ideas will just be really natural, easy to do. And you're always going to have stuff to play when you're soloing. So that's the bonus tip. And if you take it to heart and really, work on it, you're going to see some pretty amazing results. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today. As always, I want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel, for subscribing. And, if it's at all possible for you, please consider small donation to help fund the Guitar Lessons Project. Otherwise, just got to say thanks again. Have yourself a great week, and I will catch up with you next time. Bye for now. Hi, I'm Andrew Wasson from Creative Guitar Studio. Whether you're a beginner or an intermediate player, sometimes it can be confusing where to start and where to go with learning to play guitar. So if you're looking for a lesson plan that really breaks down one of the most popular guitar styles, then my new ebook on blues guitar styles should fit the bill. This is more than just a brief overview of a 12-bar blues progression and a few blues licks and scales that you might find in a lot of other books. This lesson plan will start to help you to both understand and expand on whatever blues genre you're into. And you don't even have to be a blues fan to appreciate all the information in this lesson guide. Keep in mind that the blues is the #1 guitar style that will give you a place to go and expand your guitar playing experience. So even if you're not a huge blues fan, even if you feel like you're all over the place and you've just decided that you need to ground yourself in a comprehensive guitar lesson plan, my Blues Guitar Styles Masterclass course will certainly make a difference for you. The Blues Guitar Styles course is over 50 pages of lesson topics covering popular open and movable chords for playing blues. There's also 2 chapters dedicated to helping the student understand everything there is to know about blues progressions. And that's not all. There's chapters on styles coverage for early blues rock and soul R&B. There's a comprehensive blues guitar techniques section covering hybrid picking, finger picking, slide, and open tunings. Plus there's even a section on rhythmic feel and triple meter blues, time signatures. And of course, this lesson plan contains all of the patterns for the blues pentatonic scales, as well as dozens of blues licks, plus a chapter devoted to improvisation. But to add to the value of this lesson plan, I've also included 27 MP3 audio files demonstrating every tab example notated in the ebook. It's a tremendous value for a blues course like this, and one you'll only find available through CreativeGuitarStudio.com.